All right, we're here at my tiny worm bin, and the last time we were in here, we set up a bait station because what we were trying to do was to gather a whole bunch of worms from in here and set them up for our new urban worm bag. What we did was we took a bunch of worms from our 3 worm bags, my outdoor bin, my vermi hut, and then this bin, and then we put them all together and we used that to start the urban worm bag. Now, we used an egg carton in this bin in order to bait them out. But in the vermi hut, we use the bottom of a grit container. So looking at this right here, and I actually see a tiny cocoon. Don't know if you can see that, but right there on my hand is a little cocoon. So that is great. They are continuing to make babies. And when we baited that out, well, the first thing I did was I looked in it, and after about 5 days, there wasn't any pumpkin left, which was the food I used to bait it out. So I ended up putting in some strawberry tops, and then just, I think about 48 hours later, I went in there and we pulled out a bunch of worms. What I did was I took the carton out, and then I pulled out all the worms, and I put the carton right back in here. We counted out 318 worms in that little bait station. Absolutely incredible, because this bin about 1.5 years ago was started with only 50 to 100 worms. It's been harvested and reset 3 times, and the last time it had 1,008 worms in it. So I took 318 of those 1,008 worms, and I guess that leaves us with 690. Check out the worms in here. They're crawling all throughout the old bait station. So this is good. It's really moist. It is helping to dry out the bin a little bit. And what we're doing is we're trying to dry out this bin because we're trying to get it closer and closer to harvesting. So it's been going for about 138 days, and somewhere around the 150 mark to about the 160 mark is where I want to harvest. So this might be one of its last feedings, and this right here is a piece of corn. And I see another cocoon right at the very end of my index finger. There's another cocoon. So I don't know if they're laying a bunch because I took out some worms, or that's just the normal process of things. But let's go ahead and air this out. And what we're going to do is set up for a feeding zone, and I don't think we're going to put a lot of bedding in, because I think last feeding or the feeding before that, we put a lot of shredded cardboard on top, and then we just mixed it in to try and dry up the bin. And it does feel a little bit drier. It still kind of sticks together, but it absolutely crumbles apart when I do that. So it's looking good. It's looking really good. There's a really big worm right there. Or 2, let's see. Yep, 2 worms maybe getting ready to mingle. They're really parallel to each other. And I don't know if their clitomes are attached yet, but I might have just interrupted something. All right, let's keep airing it out. Check that out. Lots of beautiful big worms. Right there is the piece of carrot that we pulled out. We put a long carrot in here, and they are still eating up the fibers. Lots of red wigglers crawling all throughout the castings. This is really cool. I don't know, when we count out this bin again, I don't know if we're gonna have over 1,000, maybe we got up to like 1,300 and then I took those 318 out. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think we're gonna get up to when we count again? We got another month to go, so you can wait and find out, but we are going to definitely count these out again. This is the only bin that I count out all the worms, just because I think it's so neat that we started with 50. So as I've been aerating this, I'm also kind of taking some of the carbon, some of the bedding and that egg carton that we had put in here from previous feedings, and I'm just going to bury that in the bottom of our feeding instead of putting in new shredded cardboard or anything like that. Now, when we baited the bin out with the egg container, I actually found that the grit container went much better. In fact, I'll put up a video here so you can see that. I think next time when I bait out some worms, I will probably use, the cardboard bottom of an oats or a grit container. That worked out really well for us. Now I'm just going to lay down this bedding right here. That will serve as our base. We've got the corn cobs down there as well. Some more of this down there. And then we're just going to lay down our feeding right on top of it, right there. So here's what we had in mind. I'm not really looking to put any kind of slow food in. This is just the strawberries and some lettuce. I think, yep, there's a little tomato and maybe some onion that I've chopped up. But we're just going to go ahead and throw that in there and just give them fast food for all of their next feedings, because I don't want anything that's going to be in here for any great amount of time, because we are going to harvest this like I said, in probably about a month or maybe two. So let's go ahead and put the rest of this in here, and then we'll just kind of spread it out a little bit. That lettuce piece right there will be gone in like 48 hours. So we'll give them a little bit more over here. All right, so we will continue to add some of our worm chow and our other amendments. And again, this worm chow is just expired stuff from the pantry, and it's got a little bit of protein powder from my kids' Weight Gainer 2000. And then in goes some coffee and tea grounds. Again, another food source for them. And I just put a little bit. I don't put a lot of this stuff in here, just a little sprinkling. It will also keep up with the grit, which for me is just pulverized eggshells. We go through a lot of eggs, so I have a surplus, and certainly my garden benefits from it also. So let's go ahead and bury up this feeding. And I think what may happen is I might keep my eye on this and maybe come back in 2 weeks. If not, I may even let it go for 3 weeks, almost like a foraging. They've got some food in here. They've got a lot of carbon to eat. So I don't think that they're going to starve by any means at all. I think that we can allow this bin to forage a little bit and maybe continue to let it dry out and, let them take care of business in here. I will keep checking on it just to make sure that it's not getting too dry, and I might even dig into it just to see how the worms are doing. I think that's what we're going to do. So we'll go ahead and put on our top newspaper, and I bet you by the time we come back and visit this bin again, they will have eaten all of this top newspaper. So I hope all your worm bins are doing well. I hope you're also doing well. So happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now.